Hello, otakus. I'll just give you a intro. It's just, it's Edwin. Right. Welcome to something I haven't played for quite a while. For some reason, there's no save games on my, sorry, music's loud. There's no save game. Laptop. Makes sense. I believe I bought my laptop pretty late to 2021 I don't think I did buy it in 2021. I am right. So yeah. What's working Yeah, I'm not good. Sorry for the awful audio, by the way. It's just, yeah. Yeah. I have my terrible fucking side roads. And wants to be fucking vertical. I am not even looking right now. Okay. Just everything is going wrong today. Whether it be like XSplit being a bit of a pain, Stream Deck, which isn't functioning as intended right now, or anything. I probably just won't be resubscribing to Stream Deck. Anyways, but yeah. So it's been a bit of a while since I played this, so let's go on with it, Bummer. Sunset Rays, especially. The usual sleepy town I have to bustle. I am going to turn down the music because it is being a pain. It was a popular tourist destination, with people coming from all over the world to enjoy the beach, the weather, and the relaxation that came forth. The smell of the ocean, crisp and salty, hung in the air, bringing 3 whole months of schoolless vacation with it. During the summer, your moms didn't like you to wander too far outside of your neighborhood, so you knew the area pretty well. That included the people. Families came and went from Sunset Bird, but they mostly stayed and did what your mom called putting down roots. They built businesses, they got to know each other, and they definitely said hello to the nice young kids who waved when passing their doors. Going for a walk around town mostly meant that the familiar and friendly residents walked or asked how your family was, or most often just said hello. So here's the first choice in the game. This determines what kind of personality you have. What you aim for anyways. Single time. The different colours dictate which kind of personalities they are. But yeah, they still smiled at you anyways, and that made you feel a little more comfortable. But today, there was a man sitting on the curb outside your house. He was sitting with his head in his hands, his whole body slumped over, and you wondered if he was even a real person, or a statue that had magically sprung up from the ground that night. Whoever or whatever he was, you had never seen him before. One thing about knowing everyone in Sunset Bird was that people who you didn't recognize really, really stood out. It was rare for tourists to venture into the residential district, as your mom's called it. So for you, not knowing who a total stranger was set off a lot of red flags. Your moms had talked with you and your big sister Lizzie about this kind of situation before. Here's another choice. So this is the kind of like courageous one. This one's the kind one, and this one's the nervous one. That's how usually the choices go. We're gonna go with the nervous route. You weren't sure about this man yet. On this time, you slowed down, your mind racing for ideas on how to get past him unseen. But it was too late to escape. There was a split second where your eyes met and you took in a shaky breath, your eyes darting to the sky, pretending to stare at a bird who was hovering nearby. Hey! His voice startled you and made you jump, but still, you didn't look at him. The bird landed on top of a nearby gate post, and its black feathers ruffled against the gentle breeze. Trying to keep your eyes on it was tough, especially when the man stood up and started making his way towards you. Not wanting to seem too approachable, you folded your arms instead. So, do you live around here? What's your name? You looked at the man up and down, taking in his tan skin and relaxed appearance. At least his clothes were relaxed. The way he was acting wasn't. He had sharks on his shirt and a stingray tattoo, and you wondered if he was obsessed with the ocean or something. While you made your assessment, he looked at you expectantly, waiting for an answer to his question. Yeah, I live here. That's great. He looked happy to hear it, giving you a broad smile. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a clean $20 bill. It crinkled in his hand as he held it up to you. Even more confused than before, you looked back at him. Well, could you do me a favor? Nothing bad. Sorry, I should have... Let me start over. He cleared his throat and stood up straighter. From where you were standing, it made him look even creepier. I have a son. His name is Cove. He's about your age. Cove. That seemed like a strange name for an actual living person to you. Oh, you chewed on the inside of your cheek? This guy was definitely obsessed with water. Like, it's slightly different, but you know, like the different orders. He wasn't the only person like that in Sunset Bird. We moved in across the street, you see. He gestured toward the house that had been empty for a year, his watch catching the late afternoon sunlight reflecting off the walls. The gigantic for sale sign was finally gone. Pardon me, I had some Pringles earlier. The spicy sour cream kind. You must be Anime Taku, right? I met your moms earlier and they told me you were it, just like him. So you shook the $20 bill to bring it back to your attention, a hopeful smiling tilted at his tips. At his lips at the corners. Can you try to be friends with the boy? give it a chance, and you can keep this. He's a good kid. You'll like him.
Do you mind?
But you gotta keep it a secret too, okay? It wouldn't be friendly to say his dad sent you. Felt sorry for Cole. This definitely wasn't the normal way of kids make friends. You knew that. What do you say? Wanna make a deal? He spun around and made a break for it. Danger, danger! You turned on the spot and bolted down the street, ignoring his calls from behind you. I completely scared him. I forgot the hotkey for auto, but you know. Hey, come back! I'm sorry if I scared you. Not yelling because I've got neighbours. I didn't know how else to ask. The soles of your shoes slipped against the concrete sidewalk as you ran. Heat from the sun warm on your face. Eventually, his shouting faded into the distance. You let yourself slow down and catch your breath, wiping the sweat from your forehead with the back of your hand. The chirping of the crickets in tall, dry grass echoed around you, and you lifted your head to survey your surroundings. You'd run right into the hills behind your house's backyard. From here, you could probably get back inside without seeing the guy again. There was a loose plank on the back fence, too small to fit through, but you could try waving Lizzie for help. The fence was pretty high, but if you stood near the shorter fence post first, you might be able to pull yourself over. Do something like that, but it was an emergency. You took in a deep breath. You wanted to try and relax and couldn't. You weren't sure what, but something told you weren't alone. So you glanced around. There was a boy sitting atop the hill, almost completely hidden within the long grass and white flowers surrounding him. His head was buried in his knees, staring ahead by himself. For whatever reason, probably just that he wasn't paying attention, he hadn't noticed you yet. You watched him a minute longer, feeling a little bit like you'd found a deer in the wild. Though deer didn't have. But this new boy did. You wondered how he got it. After a few more seconds, he took a step forward, and then another. He glanced your way, and I really need to take an inhaler, but you know, I can't find one in my immediate vicinity, so actually hold on. I've got one in one of my coat pockets. Which, by the way, for those uninitiated, my coat's like literally right in front of me. Doesn't feel like it's in that one. Doesn't feel like it's in this one either. Oh well, I'll live. Hopefully. Only a slight wheeze. I've gone through worst. And then he glanced your way. His aquamarine eyes reflected the light of the moon. You stopped, raising a hand to acknowledge him, and show you weren't scary. Hi. With a start, he jumped to his feet, his hands balling into fists at his sides. He didn't say anything, he just stared at you in a strange way. He'd been crying. There were traces of tears on his cheeks and his knees, soaking the hem of his shorts. His eyes were still shining with a few more. You'd obviously caught him off guard. He was your age, but he didn't look familiar. Maybe he was the boy that weird new neighbor had been talking about before you ran. The only way to actually know was to ask. like this option best. He sniffled a little, rubbing his ruddy cheeks before he finally spoke. My name's Cove.
I'm...
You could see him hesitate, shifting his eyes to the side, and then back to you again. Did I get 3 new followers? Hi. Oh no. Oh, that's Xander. Interesting. Well, Xander does VR games. Interesting. My dad and me, we moved here. Your guess was confirmed. So, is this your hill? He gestured with his uninjured arm to the patch of grass surrounding you, his face falling at the prospect. I can leave if it is. Can't own a hill. Why not? How could you? You just do. I had a hill back at home. Well, this isn't mine. Oh. He sat back down with a thump, resting his chin on his knees again. Curious about the strange new boy with the odd dad, you sat on a patch of grass next to him. Hey, Dan. Ooh. Burpy. The pure white flowers that covered the hill rocketed back and forth gently as the stars twinkled above. The way they dotted the sky made them seem like flowers too. The night wind was cold, was cool as it travelled over the ocean and up the hill, chasing the heat from the afternoon sun. Why'd your family move? A quiet hiccup escaped Cole as soon as you asked the question. Almost like they'd never stopped, his tears started welling up again with a vengeance. My parents, they don't want to live together with me anymore. The tears fell fast and heavy over his flushed cheeks, sticking to his dark lashes. My mom, my dad, made my dad leave, and he took me with him. And now we have a house here, and I want to go home. The outburst took you off guard. By the time he was done wailing, Cove's chest was heaving with exhaustion. He sniffled and removed his glasses, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand before he put them back on again. I hate this place. I want my real life back. So I'm sorry you'll like it here. You just have to get used to it or stop crying. That one. He slipped his hand underneath his glasses and pressed his fingers against his eyelid. Cove wound himself up again for another long crying fit. Sunset Bird was a nice place to live. It had a beach, playgrounds, a good school. At least, you thought so. But from way off in the distance, you heard your parents. Anime!
Cove?
Cove? Kids, where did you go? Cove looked at you, tears still clinging to his cheeks. Don't tell them we're here.
I want to go home.
I don't want to go back to the house. I want to go home. You can handle it, even if you can't. He's your dad, right? Yeah, he is. Dusting the grass off your pants, you stood up. So you didn't come here by yourself, or with a stranger? He's got to take care of you no matter what. Slowly, Cove stood up with you, still looking a little reluctant. His dad his dad's voice rang out again. Cove, can you hear me? And turned an American into a British accent. He looked toward the sound of his dad's voice, silent, then turned away whilst rubbing his not bandaged arm.
Sorry.
I still don't want to go. Silently with it. Yeah, I get it. You do? Before you could answer, you heard Cove's dad even closer than before. There you are, bud. The trio of parents appeared over the curve of the hill. Instantly, all their eyes landed on you and they rushed over. Both your moms were at your side in a split second, faces filled with worry. Anime, you're here after all. We had been at the park to check for Cove and then heard what happened earlier when you met the new neighbor. I thought you might have gone off further away. No, we were just sitting on the grass. Thank God you were fine. Are you two having fun out there here? He looked over at Cole, who was wiggling against his dad's tight hug and pushing at his arms. I remember choosing this choice the first time I played it. You didn't think that was the right word to describe it, but you weren't sure what else to say to your mom. Finally, letting go of his squirming, scowling son, Cove's dad turned to the three of you.
That's a relief.
Thanks very much for finding him. I really didn't know him was a sneak. Pardon me. Pardon me again. Like, if I had this much freedom as an 8-year-old, that would be amazing. But I didn't. Although, actually, technically I might have, but I chose not to utilize it. Because, you know, autistic boy gets lost. And yes, that is actually a genuine thing that happened. One time I decided to venture a little bit further away than I'd normally do with my little brother. Yes, little brother. When I was about 10, and managed to get lost on the way back home because the lighting change, which changes the scenery for me, and my brain doesn't connect. Lighting change with same place, meaning that it's an entirely different place to me. It's kind of a weird logic. You'd figure it out eventually. Anyways, good thing Anime knows this place, this whole area so well. Absolutely, we should get going. We should be going. Oh no, we should get going. We should be getting home now. It's a long day for us all. Say goodbye, Cove.
Bye.
Bye. The two of them walked off into the darkness, heading up toward the neighborhood. You watched as Cove's bright pink cast. You watched Cove's bright pink cast until it disappeared. I tell you what, we'll have a proper play date tomorrow, right? When your friend's dad wanted to bring him by to see you and Liz. How's that sound? Sure, can I show him my stuff? Of course. Then okay. Both your moms laughed, and the sounds overlapping into warm and cold. Mommy put her arm around his shoulder and led him towards the park. Satisfied and more than a little ready to go to bed after a long, exciting day, he followed them home. I forgot about this. There's an indifferent option, fond option, a crush option. You don't get love. Love has special requirements. Check the tutorial. But yeah. Basically, you have to have a crush first before you can go for love. Which you wouldn't have seen because I skipped over. It used to be little bars though. I like the little bars better than the buttons. Not gonna lie. It was more aesthetically pleasing. I should put it that way. Direct. Directly indifferent. Early the next morning. Childish indifference. Actually, I should have saved it back there. Hold on. Early the next morning, you were poking out your food, eating it slowly. Your sister Lizzie had run out earlier to go play, but you stay put. Today, just like your moms had promised, Cove was coming over to hang out. Sorry, I was wondering what it was. She felt inside the background. Excited to see your new friend again. Excited to see your new friend again, Anime. We're not friends, really.
Okay.
With that said, are you done with your breakfast? Don't know, am I? You gestured down to the empty dish in front of you, raising your eyebrows dramatically.
Okay.
Okay, we see. Good job. You should be here soon. Cleanup began, and then, on cue, there was a knock. It was hesitant, like a person wasn't sure they were in the right place. Still loud, though. We need to get a more obvious doorbell. I know. Anime, could you get it? Because Mom said so, you went to the door. Donald's, don't give me a frickin' notification in the middle of a fucking street. Basically, it's McDonald's saying, here's a voucher thing. This is exactly what they use. Fancy a sausage and egg McMuffin? Get one and a regular hot drink for $1.49 by 1402 something. Probably 2022. So playing that sausage and egg McMuffin, which I'll probably have without an egg. Choice of hot drinks, though. Anyways. Hey, Otaku family, thanks for having us. Mr. Holden, as your moms have called him, and his son were here. Cove looked different in the bright lighting of your living room, and when he wasn't crying. With his dad standing in front of him and Mom and Mommy behind you, you and Cove looked at each other. You studied Cove apathetically. This was your parents' plan, not yours. Not seeming any more excited than you were, you just stared back. By the way, this is the part that's affected by the choice. I was reading some reviews earlier saying, the choices don't affect it much. Indifference. Clean your room. enemy. Sure. Sorry, mucus buildup. It's related to the wheezing earlier. I've got some cool stuff. Come look.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care.
I'm giving up voice acting properly. Let's just talk. Let's make it sound boring as possible. Let us know if you need anything, you two. Have fun, kid.
See you.
See you later, son. Play nice. You led him to your room, puffing out your chest a little at the sight of your treasures. There were lots of stuffed animals, a cool bed, and a window to look out. It was a great room. You hadn't had anyone to show it to in a while, but you were really proud of it. Ooh. I like this. Thank you. You're welcome. You smiled at him. You were proud of that particular piece of art. You were glad he noticed it. You turned to look around the room a little more, studying the books on your desk and the pictures on the walls. You started to feel a bit nervous. You felt the atmosphere was kind of awkward. You were glad for the company. You hoped he liked your room. These are all just different ways of saying it, but like... wanted to say something, but you didn't know what, so you let him keep looking. Then his eyes landed on a tiny box of bead pins he'd collected tucked away by your door. He took a step towards it, before hesitating and pointing at it, and said, "What's that?"
Oh.
Oh. Managed to,
Oh.
a load of stuff I found on the beach.
Oh.
Do you have any driftwood in there? Dragging the box to the middle of the room, you and Cove flopped down next to it. I do, look. You gestured to a piece of the box, still covered with specks of sand.
Neat.
Neat. This is a good collection. You got the sense from the tone of his voice that he wasn't just saying it to be nice, or to be like... XSplits. I know. Stop it. You don't need to give me a pop-up notification every time I have high CPU usage. And actually my CPU isn't that high right now. It's like 80%. I was gonna say it's probably using the iGPU, but it's not. It's definitely using the 3070 because of the amount of VRAM being used. Well, let's just double check. You can see it. Also, I might need to open just a sec. Oh, actually no, it is using the iGPU. The GPU is only being used for a copy. Engine 7 not being used. Engine 6 not being used. Engine 5 not being used. Video decode 1. For some reason, video decode's being used, even though I'm not watching the video. Also, I should close that. But left a smidge. Literally not much at all. Then that should be it. Go. Perfect. You got the sense from the tone of his voice he wasn't just saying it to be nice, or to be like, Shiloh? He actually meant it. Don't know who Shiloh is. I forgot about Shiloh. Shiloh? Somehow accidentally managed to press it. He's friends with my older sister. He's supposed to hang out here this afternoon. Oh yeah, now I remember who Shiloh is. A character that we rarely get to see because he moves away. So sad. Yes, spoilers, by the way. 2 years ago, but I still remember it like it was yesterday. Do I have to see him? I don't have to do anything, but he's going to be here. Anyway, I found this gigantic shell here, stuck to an even bigger rock. We pulled out seashell after seashell, explaining where he had gotten each one, holding them up against the light. There were big ones, small ones, pink, purple, and orange. Most of them you washed off in the bathroom sink when you brought them home, cleaning off the sand. Over the past few years, you'd even learned some of their scientific names. You had a whole picture book dedicated to different shells and sea life. You learned a lot by flipping through the pages. Apparently fascinated either by the stories or by the shells themselves, Cove listened to what looked like the full force of his attention. It was a new experience to be the center of such dedicated focus, even if it was only directed at the shells. Kids, come down to the living room. You could tell the idea was making him unhappy, but Mommy wasn't giving you much of a chance to hang around. I want to eat. I am hungry. Pringles are in front of me. Cove hadn't been like this meeting you, and he guessed it was because you found each other by accident, and a parent didn't make it happen. Telling Cove that would be a bad idea. Before you knew it, you'd both been escorted downstairs and deposited in the living room. Ready for Sheila's visit. The two of you sat side by side on the floor of your home's entryway. I brought the box of shells. I want to keep looking at them. Oh, bust it open. We can keep looking while we wait for Sheila. Wolf reached in and pulled out a big orange shell. Oh, by the way, I haven't chosen this choice either before. Oh! Like he hadn't spoken aloud yet, he turned to you and held it up, his eyes shining. I think I like this one the best of them. My favourite too. Cove smiled at you and you both admired the shell together. It was a giant conch with shades of dark, light orange. You held it to your ear and you could practically hear the ocean. I found that one last summer when we were on the beach on a picnic. When we went to the beach on a picnic. The two of you were still sitting on the floor looking through your collection of beach findings when the doorbell finally rang. Cove jumped, startled by the sound. Since the person had knocked, he figured it was probably Sheila. He knew where to look for that. Lizzie's friend? You nodded, but that didn't seem to make Cove feel any better. It was already obvious that Cove didn't hide his feelings well. You could tell what he was thinking right away. This isn't a good idea. It's just Sheila. Where would you even go? It's at our only door, and if you go upstairs, he'll find you. Cove glanced around the room, his eyes wide, paused with his gaze locked on the back of the house. I can go out a window. He was already walking towards it. Scrambling to think of something to say, you stepped forward, then paused. See, the thing is, I've done this one, and I've done that one, and I think I've done that one. In a while since I've done this, so let's, yeah, override the save. Override the save! We have up to 46 left now. 40 times 6, so 40. So 6 to the power of 40, I think? No, that wouldn't be right. It was 40 times 6. If we were to prime factorize it, it would be 2 to the power of 4 times 3 times 5. Or 2.4 times 10 to the power of 2. Or CCXL. Or 240. CXL. Damn, who goes through so many? I think last time I played I went through like maybe 10 from the save slots. Let's do this choice. You don't, even I don't jump out of any windows here, and this is my house. The distance from the first floor living room window wasn't far, but you could tell it made Kirk notice it nervous anyway. He touched the cast on his arm. The wind had I clearly released from his cells. I don't want to break any more bones. I don't think anyone wants to. Yeah. But I don't want to see him. I don't want to know him. Sorry. Another good choice here. I'm mean. What a chicken. You gotta see new people every day, walking down the street. So what? Huh. Stilo poked his head into the living room. Sorry, that was entertaining.
Hi!
Hey, Anime. And hi, Cove? Cove shot you an uneasy glance.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Shilo. Shilo. It's nice to meet you. Yeah. And I skipped over again. You have a lot of freckles. Oh, you have a lot of freckles. Right, I do. What are you guys doing? We're looking at shells.
Can I do it too?
Awesome! Can I do it too? Cove shrugged, then looked back at your box of peach vine. What about that one? The plan for the afternoon, at least as far as you were concerned, was to sit and look at beach things some more. You weren't really in the mood to do much of anything else. This is a scallop shell I found last week. I kept it because it looks neat. It's a pretty color, kinda like my cast. I know I used Chilo's voice for Cove there. I'm not usually good at handling 3 consecutive voices. So sorry about this, guys. The beautiful glittering pink did look a little bit like the wrap around his arm. Pink's a nice color. A pink's a nice color. Okay.
Oh?
Is it your favorite? Not really. What is? Maybe green or blue. It might be yellow. Oh, those are so cool.
I guess.
I guess.
Awesome.
Colors too. Awesome. Like usual, it didn't take long for Shiloh to get fidgety. Lizzie was his favourite. Without her around, Shiloh didn't seem to know what to do with himself. And Cove wasn't like your sister. He wasn't much like you either. And are you going to say I've got high CPU usage again, laptop? Go die in a ditch somewhere. Is Lizzie coming back? I don't know.
Aw.
Oh. Where'd she go? I think she's at the beach, probably. Is she playing at a park? Cove's eyes lit up at the mention of the park. And he looked towards you. There's a park? Yeah, but it's old. Pardon me. Look. Can you show me? I want to go. Started getting up before you even answered, and Shiloh jumped up beside him in excitement. Really? You do too, right, Anime? The park is fun. Park's
Yeah.
pretty great. It's right at the beach, and there's lots of fun stuff to do and lots of sand. It has a jungle gym and a bunch of swings. That sounds like it could be cool. So, are we going to find Lizzie? I don't know. I never really wanted to see her. I just want to check the park out. Adrift without any direction, Shiloh finally turned to you. Okay. He pads up. Both boys wanted to go. Don't care. After getting permission from your moms, the three of you were ready to head out. It was a short walk to the park. Give me a moment while I scroll. Scrolling on a trackpad is not easy. It was a short walk to the park. Lizzie had convinced your moms that it was so short. She should always be allowed to walk there by herself. When you found her, she was hanging out on the jungle gym, swinging back and forth. Hey, Lizzie! Her face lit up when she saw you. Her big, brown eyes going wide. Anime! Shiloh! Hi! She dropped to the ground and landed with a soft thud in the sand. In a split second, Shiloh had abandoned you two and scrambled over by her. I wonder if I can make a soft thud with my tablet back. My tablet's back up. No, not a sand-worthy one. Pity. She dropped to the ground and landed with a soft thud. You were used to being left out when it was just the three of you, and now Cove is here. Cove is your little teddy bear. We weren't sure if this was an improvement. Who's there? It's Cove. He's new.
Hi.
I remember. Hi, Cove. Welcome to my park. Nobody ever comes to play here, so this is where we get together. She gestured wildly with her arms as if to present the area to you. Without interrupting Lizzie's speech, Cove whispered in the air, quiet enough that others wouldn't hear. See? Here's another moment where your choice mattered. Sorry, I'm really salty at the people who said that the choices barely mattered. There's already been 2 instances and we're not even at the point where most of the choices are. This is just the beginning, basically. And, yeah. I thought kids couldn't own places like parks or hills. Look at that cheeky smile. You couldn't help but laugh a tiny bit. While Lizzie continued talking, you took the chance to kick off your shoes and wriggled your toes through the warm sand. Nice, huh? In this neighborhood, I'm the one who comes up with the ideas. You are?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I am. Who else could handle the job? Lizzie's the oldest. By a lot. My mom said you're Anime's age.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought so. I'm still the only one in this group with double digits. Uh-huh. Cheeky. What about the other kids? The other kids? There aren't any. Oh god, that was an awful smelling fart. Like something's gone off in my stomach. There aren't any. We're the only kids here, and Sheila is visiting from another place. Not even tourists really bring their kids here. This is the land of ages. Be careful that the oldies don't try to steal your youth.
Oh.
Oh. For a second, he looked like he might cry again. But something in his eyes shifted and he looked back at Lizzie. What kind of old people? Like moms and dads or grandparents? Grandparents who don't have kids. They hate kids. Why? We haven't done anything. Only some of them don't like kids. You interjected quickly, hoping Lizzie wouldn't take things too far. Honey, Cove sniffled, his forehead creasing with worry. Honey. Lizzie was staring Cove down, but Cove wasn't even looking at her anymore. He didn't seem to care that she was there. He went into his own head. Sheila was the next one to speak, completely unaware of the situation. I need to get the air freshener at some point. I completely missed that line there. I met Lizzie and Anime in school. You'll see tons of kids there once summer's over. I see your usage again, we're only at 77% here. I don't want to go to a new school. I don't want summer to end. Sheila looked down at the dirt. He hasn't had much luck striking up conversations with Cove. I like summer vacation a lot too. All the building tension in the air suddenly vanished when Lizzie laughed. At Sheila's discomfort at how weird she thought Cove was, something else entirely you didn't really know. Oh, at Sheila's discomfort at how weird she thought Cove was, or at something else entirely you didn't know. But she laughed, face scrunching up.
Okay.
Welcome to Sunset Bird Cove. Take a seat, pull up your feet, and get used to it. Her is right. For the rest of summer, Cove was always there. You saw him more often than Sheila, and on some days when she was in a bad mood or busy, you even saw him more than Lizzie. He became a staple of your everyday life, the way the sun and lunch and beach were. That first summer you really hadn't been interested in one way or another. He was just a kind of fact of life. Someone you met with because he was there. Of course, that was only the start of things. I feel like there's 2 more choices. I don't remember there being 10 moments, I guess. Let's start with shopping. Come back before it gets dark, alright, sport? Familiar voice drifted across the street and drew your attention away from the snail you've been walking slowly across the pavement. I'm just a position. I'm not in my usual spot for streaming because lazy. The same reason I'm using my earphones rather than I'm gonna turn off the bedside light. Oh, I might have to turn on the loose lights though. Whoosh. Much nicer. Your voice. Right. Cove waited in front of his dad, pushing his green hair back off his face from where the breeze was blowing it over his glasses. He looked to be paying only a mild amount of attention as he was being handed a few slips of green paper. It reminded you of when you first met Mr. Holden, although he's probably not being Cove to be friends with himself. Would you be friends with yourself if you appeared to do it? Questions, huh? Cove's dad seemed to feel your gaze somehow. Maybe you made a noise because a second later his eyes were on you. He waved you over with a smile. He looked happy to see you, but you still felt awkward for getting caught. You've got to learn how to be more sneaky, and this laptop is really burning up. Like, I know the iGPU makes my laptop warm, but like it's really burning up. Brushed your hands together to free them from the sand, then jogged over to join the two.
How's it going?
3% laptop. Good to see you again. What excitement are you up to today, Anime? Stuff. I found a really cool snail across the road. He was slimy, with funny eyes and a nice shell. Mr. Holden grinned at your enthusiasm. After you finished answering the question, Mr. Holden's attention returned to Cove, who was preoccupied with folding the bills he had into a tiny rectangle. Stretching my butt. Sounds fun. You know, Cove was about to hit the stores by the beach. Why didn't you go with him? You shrugged. Cove was in the process of making a similar motion. You didn't have anything else to do, and you hadn't been to the stores in a few days. Maybe there was something new to look at. Maybe... Is that okay?
I guess. I guess.
I was going by myself, but I guess it is. You don't have to. Great, I'm sure you guys will have loads of fun. Mr. Holden reached into his pocket and pulled out a leather wallet filled with money. I found it odd since your mum's only ever seemed to have cards in there. The card life. Here, he leaned in to pass a crisp 10 to Cove, giving him a wink and a whisper. Get something for your friend, too. Sure.
Good kid.
That's my boy. Cove's dad ruffled his son's hair and he was straightening back up, the bill in his hand still held out towards the green-haired boy. Take care. Cove accepted the bill after a second and slipped it into his pocket. Then with one last nod to his dad, he turned and started walking. You followed after him, intrigued at the possibilities of this outing might bring. Cove strayed towards the gentle tide, creeping up the sand as you fell into place beside him. It was a nice day and the sun was shining, but there weren't many clouds in the sky, though the wind coming off the ocean kept it from being too hot. He took in a deep breath, enjoying the scent of salt and ocean air. When you look at Cove, he was dragging his feet through the sand a little, and you slowed down to wait for him. His eyes searched the ground intently. Looking for pals? Cove startled a little at the sound of your voice and mumbled, sort of. If you see any, you can let me know. You could manage that. You dropped your view on the sand and walked carefully so you didn't step on anything. You were good at finding shells. You had a lot of them at home and always found new ones whenever you visited the beach. The comforting sound of the waves filled the silence with pleasant... This is a new choice for me, by the way. pleasant white noise, and you played a little game with yourself as you walked along, getting as close to the water as possible without getting wet. It resulted in you having to run up the sand quickly when a wave rushed in more than a few times. And although Cove threw a few glances your way, he didn't say a word. What do you usually do on the beach? Lots of things. I like bodyboarding and volleyball and surfing and everything and stuff. The idea of standing on a big board, this is a new choice as well, big board while the waves propelled you towards the shore was mystifying. I'm not allowed to surf. It looks hard. Not once you get the hang of it. I could show you sometime. But I'm not also supposed to surf right now because I have this. He lifted up one arm, showing off his glaring pink cast wrapped around his wrist. Yeah. I also like collecting stuff that's on the shore. Shells, sand dollars. What's sand dollars? I found a shark tooth once. You did? Cove stretched out his forefinger and thumb. It was this long. And somehow, both scary and delightful. No way. I mean it. I still have it under my bed. Stop! Cut popping up in the corner of my eyes. You have to remember and ask him to show you it sometime.
So...
What about you? What do you do out here? Sandcastles or swimming? If only I had viewers, eh? I'd ask you. I have to think about it myself. That don't make sense. How can the same person follow me twice? One late at night and one early in the morning. Who's Pelican? I want to view his profile. How hard can that be? An entertainer of some sort. Interesting. At least it's not a bot. I quite often get bots. But yeah. It's nice to see someone different. Cove's lips curled into a small smile. Me too. It occurred to you that you hadn't been swimming in a while. There was just so much to do before school started up again, and so little time. Once you reached the shopping area, the noise level grew exponentially. No longer just waves and footsteps, but the chatter of people enjoying the lovely summer day, the call of birds trying to find bits of food left behind, and lots of salespeople trying to get attention. Pardon me, you sniffed the air as you walked beside Cove. You could still smell the ocean, but there were lots of other scents now. Too. Pizzas, pretzels, hot donuts. It's alright. There were a lot going on, but it beat staying at home and doing nothing at all. You were sure you and Cove could find something to fill the day if you looked around a bit. Cove was glancing from one side of the street to the other with a look in his aquamarine eyes that he couldn't quite work out. What's that? Cove pointed to a large crowd of people gathered near a few tables with large, colourful umbrellas blooming from the middles. You couldn't see past the adults who were blocking the way, but you knew there must be something worth seeing. Without another word, the two of you hurried to see what all the commotion was about. Feast your eyes on the amazing Alexander. There was a little table next to him with a cloth hanging over it that read, The Amazing Alexander in glittery golden script. Why tell people his name if it's already on the sign? Cove hummed with the understanding, then turned to walk just as the amazing Alexander began shuffling a deck of cards. I want to see the show. Cove glanced back at the man, then he briefly lifted his arms up off his sides before returning them back into place. Okay. You may not be impressed, but at least he didn't ditch you. You grinned, waving him to follow you as you raced back to the stand in the crowd. With that, it began. The magic man pulled one card out of the deck, showing it to the curious onlookers. It was 4 of diamonds. Watch closely. You did, squeezing through a few of the adult onlookers to get a better view. Suddenly, the man snapped his fingers and the card just disappeared. Woo! The amazing Alexander, who had earned his title, turned his head and looked directly at you. He reached out without a kind smile. What's this behind your ear? Nothing. It was true. You didn't keep anything there. It smelled like popcorn and candy when you stepped closer, and you wrinkled your nose in confusion as you watched him. You felt a tug, and then he pulled out the 4 of diamonds from behind you. You knew that he couldn't really have come from your ear, but you still didn't get how he had done it. There was a light applause from the cloud, Yes, Google Drive now gives you light applauses. And the man gave a deep bow. This is for you. The magician plucked a pair of balloons from a clump of them tied down to his table. Both were in the shape of a dolphin instead of being a normal circle. And one for your friend too. Thank you for being my assistant. Wow. Now you were really grateful he chose you. Oh yeah, if I remember. Cove's balloon. Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it. After that, he went to someone else in the crowd. Pick a card, any card. My uncle does those tricks, something or other, and it's too far backwards. My uncle does that every time he visits. Not the balloons, the stuff with the cards. Cove spoke plainly while reaching over to take the dolphin that had been designated for him. The imagination of kids. See, sometimes it doesn't have a choice to unpick. Like, you know. I'm going to have to drop out soon though because I've got a lesson in my tablet. Like, if it's, I think it starts at 9, it would be 12 minutes. Oh wait, oh no, it's Tuesday. Yeah, no, I think it is in 12 minutes. And you connect. Timetables. Tuesday, 7:01, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, 7:01. 10 o'clock till 11 o'clock, lecture 2. 1 o'clock till 3 o'clock, lecture 2. Kind of confusing. But they're all different classes. So the seminar and like seminar, the second seminar one is the first lesson for is the same class as the first lecture 2, but the second lecture 2 and the first seminar 1 are completely different classes. Interesting for you. So yeah, I'll save it soon and then we'll get back to it later. Pardon me. If so, he was lucky. The crowd started to clear some. Notice the side end. To the side there was a whole rack of brightly coloured kaleidoscopes on display. By the way, in part 4, part 3, I can't remember which, you actually reminisce about this day, funnily enough. And if you still have the dolphin, well, I say dolphin, if you still have the little keychain on, he makes note of it.
All right. I may sound quiet, but it's just because I'm tired. I'm always tired though, so it makes no difference. Oh.
Okay.
I have different gender options for your dolphin. It's either a male, NB, female, or just a regular dolphin, which the name is agnostic, the correct term? Gender agnostic? Yeah, sounds a gender agnostic name. See, you know words, you just can't remember the meaning sometimes. I don't know where I got the word agnostic from, though. Like, it's just the word that I feel like I've known for a long time. Anyways, Merryweather. There's a crown made of seaweed and all his friends are merfolk. Every now and then you'll make friends with a kid and let him ride on his back. Besides, wishing you could meet a real dolphin like Merryweather. What's yours? It's... Pop! Blood into ribbons. Oh no! For a second, all Cove did was gape in shock like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting in his eyes, and you saw tears start to glisten. I used 3 fingers instead of... Well, I'll finish it later. Sorry to leave you on such a cliffhanger, guys. We've still got another 9 sections to do. But yeah. As you probably already guessed, I have to go to lesson now. So, auf Wiedersehen. Button. Accidentally pressed